Hey, good afternoon. I know I'm showing this in the morning, but it's afternoon for me right now. It's one of those days where I got up a little later than I would like to. And I'll tell you why. Yesterday I was working on trying to put together this coaching idea, this carnivore coaching plan that I have, because I really have a passion for being able to help people get in shape and to get their lives together and to get their health together and to get their minds healed and their bodies healed of all these things that we've done to ourselves over the past couple of decades or few decades with the horrible foods and the drug system that we all deal with. And as I was looking through some of the other carnivore coaching channels out there, trying to get an idea of exactly what I was going to try to do, because ultimately I just wanted to have an easier way to connect with you guys, because there's just no way I can get through all the comments anymore. I do try to read them and I respond to as many as I can, but sometimes I can do that for hours at a time, and sometimes people don't even come back and see the reply. Now, a lot of you do, and I appreciate that, and I appreciate everybody who does comment, because it certainly helps the algorithm here on YouTube, and that allows me to reach more people. So please keep the comments coming. But I feel like I miss a lot of questions. I feel like I miss a lot of opportunities to speak directly to people with the questions that they have, and I just only have so much time in a day. So I'm looking at the coaching option, because that would be a way that I could leave my daytime job and be able to support those who are trying to do this. I mean, I know there's a lot of you who've got it figured out and you're okay with it and you like my channel because it continues to give encouragement, and I'm fine with that. But there's a lot of people who are just finding out about this and they have no idea how to get started. Even though they can see that I've got the videos that tell my whole story, a lot of them don't have time to sit and watch 400 videos that I have out there now and try to figure out what I'm doing or what's changing and how to start this and everything else. So I want to make myself available for people. And I started to get a little upset, because seeing how to get all this going was a bit daunting for me, because I didn't start doing this at all to make it into a business. I only started doing this because I thought it would be helpful for people. And as I've grown, as the channel has grown, and now there are over 40,000 of you watching and subscribing, I realize that I have a responsibility to all the people who are coming to me to say, what is it you're doing, Dante? How do you do this? What's going on? How can I have my life change the way your life has changed? I want to help everybody that has questions like that figure out exactly what it is they need to do so that they can be successful on this. You know, I was talking to Dr. Baker this past Thursday. He had me on as a VIP speaker on his podcast, and I had the opportunity to speak. And boy, once he opened the gate for me, I just let it go. I think I spoke the whole time for like an hour plus. And he didn't do a whole lot of talking, but he did ask me one question about what I think of the political side of this, basically, like how they're infringing upon our freedoms and they're stepping in more and more. And I'm not really 100% happy with the final answer I gave him. I want to be able to expound on that some. You know, I've always been interested in our government and here in the United States. I've been a history lover all of my life. I've studied the founding. I've studied what got us to be that shining light on the hill. And I've studied where the downfalls came in too. And when I look back at it all, I can see so many places where we got off a track. And the more I study these things, the more I realize it's even worse than I thought. And we are so far down the road now of corruption and power control, money and power. It gets a little bit discouraging, because I don't see a human solution for this. I don't see a political solution. I don't see a political hero that's going to solve everything. I'm still going to vote for the person that I think is best for the job. And if that person is willing to do things that reduce the size of the overall government, they're going to have my vote, because I think that this top-down centralized control that they're trying to put on us this whole 2030 agenda that comes from the World Economic Forum and that all these big politicians are on board with is absolutely wrong, and it's going to lead us into serfdom. And I personally don't want to be a serf. I would like to be a free person, living my life, taking care of my family, eating the food I want to eat, living on the property I want to live on, living the way that God intended, not being fed computer-made food and plant-based proteins and bugs and whatever other garbage they want to come up with that they're going to sell us to try to do to make their lives better, not the rest of the world, not the population of the world, not the people of this world, but to make them richer and happier, and to get us to stop breathing their air, basically, and eating their food. I don't want any part of the system that they're putting together. I want to see a nation and other nations full of people that are willing to do what it takes to get healthy, to get strong, so you can mentally face what you got to face in this world, and to be able to have the words when it's time to speak, because it's one of the most important things we have is our ability to speak our minds. And if you don't feel healthy enough to get out there and do that, it's going to be even harder. I can't stand seeing that we're all being brainwashed into stupidity on things like I shared Sunday with the Icy brand cereal, or the Kellogg's Icy cereal, that was designed to get kids hooked on eating this garbage because they relate it to their favorite treat and they're having it for breakfast now. So it associates in their head as being something that's normal to have an Icy cereal for breakfast, or Reese's peanut butter cup cereal for breakfast, or sugar-coated anything for breakfast, especially wheat of all things. It's just amazing when I look back and see in my own life how I was brainwashed to all of these things. I was watching a couple the other day when I was going through Publix. I was looking on the detergent aisle, which also happens to be the aisle where they keep the baby formula. Seems like an interesting place to keep baby formula, doesn't it? But anyway, I saw this couple and they were kind of blocking the whole aisle between their cart and them looking back and forth at their cart and what was on the aisle, because they were looking at the formula. And they were just looking at the front of the cans and talking about what they said they had and what they did for the baby and how healthy they were. And I'm thinking to myself, those cans of powdered garbage are not what your baby needs. Now, granted, they can be important for if you have a situation where you can't nurse or feed a child the things that it needs. But we have been convinced that this stuff is what's healthy for our newborn babies. And then we start them off on this path, eating these garbage cereals and these garbage foods for breakfast, having Pop-Tarts and all kind of things that are just setting them up for failure. And then when they get into adulthood, just like I did, they look at things that are supposed to be healthy, and they find out later on those things weren't healthy, and wind up getting their gallbladder taken out because they never use the bile that builds up in their bladder to deal with any of the fat they're supposed to be eating. And they're just being fed a lie. And ultimately those lies are meant to empower and enrich the food companies and the pharma companies, who seem to be working together hand in hand to let us think they're giving us something good, but they're actually giving us the very thing that is hanging us. So getting back to my answer to Dr. Baker, yes, I do want to fight back against the things that are being said. And you guys tell me if I'm wrong, but I truly believe that this battle is not won by who we elect into the White House. This battle is not won by deciding who's going to lead us somewhere. This battle is won by the troops on the ground, getting their health and their bodies and their minds fixed from all this garbage that has infiltrated us for the past 50 plus years, eating these foods and taking these medicines that are just killing us. Because just like that couple in the grocery store, their eyes may be open to a lot of things, but they're still trusting. They're still trusting in these companies that don't have their best interest in mind. They're not reading what's on the labels. They're not reading the ingredients. They're not thinking about, what am I really giving my child? They're just trusting that what the packaging says is giving them what they need. And we just walk blindly along, participating in the very system that's tearing us apart. that's making us sick, fat, and unhealthy, and taking all of our money too. It's I think it has to be one at the ground level. The more people that can find the red pill of eating the right way are going to change so much in their lives that they'll start to become aware of more of the things that are going on. You know, when I got into talking about food and nutrition, I never would have thought this would take me back to the politics road. All my life I followed those things. Like I said, I wanted to be a history teacher because I wanted to be able to open up young minds to what the truth is about history. And I recognized early on some of the things that were going on in what we used to call a shadow government. Now they call it the swamp or the deep state. And we're realizing more and more that people from behind the curtains of certain rooms have been pulling strings for us for a long time, and we've got to be able to break free. We got to be able to exit the matrix so that we can get society back to the way it should be. There is no perfect solution, but I can tell you this much. The solution they're offering at the World Economic Forum and what they talk about in the current rooms of government these days, they're not anything close to being what you want to live in. They're all about power, control, and enriching those who already have it. And personally, I can't stand seeing it. I don't think there's anything wrong with people making a buck offering something of value for value in exchange. But what they're offering is lies, 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 and they're just taking, keeping us sick, fat, and unhealthy, and broke. And I'm here to encourage you to say, screw it. I'm going to get up and do it. I'm going to start with me, because if I try to start with who's in the White House, I have no control over that. If I try to start with who's in the Senate or in the Congress room or even in the mayor's office, I don't have a whole lot to say about that except one little vote. But what I do have control of is what I decide to put in my mind and body, and how I'm going to let that affect those around me, how I'm going to lead by example, what I'm going to do to keep my body strong so that when my family and friends and my community need me, I'll be ready. And that's how I want to wage this war. And I'm going to still make some videos where I talk about some of the political arguments out there and what's going on involving food. All I know is the Lord has given me, He's given me the ability to communicate in such a way that people have let me know that even I'm surprised at how my words affect people. So this is a responsibility on my part to be able to come back and get out here, even when I don't feel like it, even on days when I miss my morning walk. I'm out here in the Florida sun. Thank God it's September, walking out here with this 40-pound vest on, because I want to encourage you to say, screw it, get up and do it. I'm not going to let today get away from me. I still got to go to work in an hour. So I got to get back, take a shower, and get ready for that. And I'd like to be home editing this video, but I'm going to have to do it all from my phone. That's why I used my phone to record this video today. But I need you guys' help. I need you guys to keep letting me know what you think. Keep saying so in the comments. And the encouragement you guys bring me when you let me know how my videos help you to press on one more day, to be able to get through one more day, to be able to say no to the things that you know you need to be saying no to, and to be able to say yes to the things you need to be saying yes to. Those things motivate me when I get down. And I can't thank you guys enough for how you support me in this. Anyway, I think I've talked enough on this walk. I need to do some breathing as I walk now. But keep an eye out for that video from Dr. Baker. It should be on the podcast site, I think. They mentioned that it was going to be on the Revero YouTube channel, but I didn't see a channel specifically for Revero, but I did see the Dr. Baker podcast. As I get new information on that, I'll be sure to let you know either in my Ferrigno Freedom Facebook group or my Ferrigno Freedom Facebook page. By the way, the Facebook group, we've had a lot of new people joining since I mentioned it in the previous video. It's a great way for you to get together with other people that are on the same journey, trying to figure out how to do this carnivore way of eating, how to do lion diet, sharing successes, sharing recipes, encouraging one another. And if I do get any trolls in there, y'all let me know who they are, because I'll get them out. But this way, you don't have all your personal information as far as the diet you're doing, cluttering up your friends' pages, because you know how they respond to these things sometimes, and it makes it a lot easier for you to talk about what you want to talk about if you don't feel like you're going to get any flack from those who don't understand this carnivore way of eating. So I've got those out there. You can also find me on Twitter and Instagram. Twitter is at my full name, Dante Ferrigno. Instagram is at Ferrigno Freedom. I'm also on Rumble at Ferrigno Freedom, and I'm on Locals at Ferrigno Freedom. Oh, and of course, Patreon as well. So, and all the links for everything is in the description. So if you're interested in checking me out on those other channels, please look in the description. Thank you for all of you who have been ordering shirts and gear from my merch shop. A lot of you guys comment on how much you like my shirts sometimes. Almost all the shirts that you see that relate to this way of eating are available in my merch shop, and the link is in the description. So be sure to check that out. And together we can win. We can turn the tide on all this insanity going on in the world. But we got to start one at a time, getting healthy, getting our families together, getting back on track with the things we know that are good for us, and then we can start changing things from the bottom up. That's all I got for today, guys. I'll see you next time. Hey Sam, you gonna be okay? You gonna make it, buddy? Don't worry, we'll be home soon.
If we pay extra, could we maybe get some grease or fat?
One of the things I do to fight back against big food and big pharma is to recommend companies that make animal-based products that are good for our bodies and good for our skin. In this case, I'm talking about Vintage Tradition. Vintage Tradition tallow balms are a go-to for me now, especially the unscented one. I like it because it doesn't have anything extra in it other than extra virgin olive oil and tallow rendered from suet. This is the interior fat, also called suet or kidney fat. For the tallow they use making the tallow balm. Highly saturated and therefore more therapeutic than any other. They don't use any trim fat or any other fats besides suet. So if you want some ancestrally appropriate skincare products that are going to help support the carnivore movement, head over to vintagetradition.com and use my discount code DANTE, D-A-N-T-E, to save 10% on your order. I promise you won't regret it. Their products are fantastic. I love them and I use them all the time. All right, I'm going to take my freedom-loving butt in the house and make a nice juicy T-bone to take to work with me. I'll see you guys next time.